Alright, so let's talk about expensive tools versus non-expensive tools. And should you buy all, like, say, Craftsman or all, whatever, Cobalt or whatever tools, or should you just buy what you need and just go with it? If you're just doing stuff in your front yard, you don't need like really, really expensive tools. There's really no need in it. And for instance, like this is kind of like my thing is these are like inexpensive wrenches that I got. This is like a wrench set that I got from some car store. I don't even know. But so I ended up buying these, and these work fine. These are just Toolworks wrenches. It's a 20 something piece. Yeah, 22 piece. And they work fine for me. They do what they need to do. They haven't stripped out or anything. And I bought some dollar store ones like whenever I first started working on cars, and they sucked and I bent them. And so I ended up buying a halfway decent set. And before I bought this set, I just had onesie twosies. I was just buying them as I went. But then I saw these; they were fairly inexpensive, so I just bought the whole kit. And these aren't expensive. They aren't Craftsman. They aren't, really high-end tools, but they work and they've lasted. I've had these. This is what I've been working on my Honda with. They've helped me get off some seize bolts that have been on there, and they work good. But it just depends on what you're doing with them, whether you need expensive or not. Now, one thing is sockets. As you see here, this socket is like flared out on the top. And what I'll have to do is I'm going to end up buying another socket to replace this one. But what I end up doing is buying a shorty and then I buy a deep socket at the same time, so that I'll have a deep one and a shallow one. And when I replace my sockets, I end up buying really good sockets. I buy high-end sockets from like a really reputable company, because these cheap ones, this is what happens to them whenever you're working on stuff. This happened from the Acura pulling off the lower control arms in the front. They were on there freaking really good. They've been on there forever, since the 90s when the car was built. So getting them off, it broke the cheap socket. So I'll replace that with better quality sockets, because that's what I use most. I don't even use these wrenches that much. I use sockets for pretty much everything, because it's pretty much, in Hondas there's a lot of room, so you can get in there with sockets and just go to town. If I needed better wrenches, then I would just buy better wrenches. But yeah, I'd say it all depends on like what you're doing with it. It's like pretty much these are cheap pick set. I just bought it to replace the wiring harness head, like the ends on the wiring harness. But you can even use them for like the transmission axle seals. You just stick that pick in there and yank it out, and it'll come right out. But I'm not going to buy really expensive ones, because I'm going to use it for these couple of things. It's not something I'm going to use all the time. And this is another little toolkit that I ended up, this is my second set of these, only because I keep losing all the parts because the case sucks. But this thing comes in really handy for removing the Y8 lower bolt on the intake manifold, because there's that little hole there. You can't get to it from the bottom, so you literally have to go in from the top, and it's got that little tiny hole, and that's what this little L arm is good for. You get in there and you can just turn it, and ended up working good. That's the only thing I've found so far working on these, so I ended up buying an extra set. Yeah, so if you're looking for these, they're just cheap. That's the actual product number there. You can look it up and pick you up a set. I'll link them below if you want to get them. But yeah, if you're working on Hondas, that will help out, especially if you're doing the Y7 to Y8 manifold swap like I did. But yeah, so I mean, the thing is, like, I think it just depends on like what you're doing with the tools. If you're using the tools a lot, it's better to have like quality tools. But if it's something you use every now and again, no. Alright, you guys take it easy. Peace.